Hi artists, it's Miss Lori, and we're going to have our final project in art. It's 2 lessons, today and a week from today, and it's so much fun. We're going to learn how to take paper, which is basically 2-dimensional, and make a 3-dimensional puppet from it. Also, we're going to use everything we learned about color, related color, and complementary color in this lesson. We're going to reuse what we learned. You'll start with a puppet mouth. If you don't have one, here are directions. We're going to begin by talking about color. Take a moment and think about what we've learned so far this year using color. You made fantastic color wheels. And then you looked at related color and you used related color in your collage. And then you used complementary color. We'll be using what you learned in our puppets. We're going to make complementary color puppets. But today we're starting with related colors. You remember what related colors are, right? They're colors that sit next to each other on the color wheel. Start by looking at your colors and pick 2 related colors. You can pick out all the variations of each of the 2 colors you picked. For instance, I chose blue, and here are 3 blues. And I chose purple, which is related to blue, and here are several of the purples that I picked out. So here are the colors I'm going to work with, blue and purple, and I have several variations of each color. I'm putting the rest back into the envelope for next week. I pick a color for the head. The head is what's going to cover over the puppet mouth. I cut out a shape that covers over the whole puppet mouth so that I don't see the white paper of the puppet mouth. We're not going to draw a little puppet face or put on a few little things and leave that boxy puppet mouth as the mouth. We're going to instead make our whole shape, our own shape. It can be any shape. I made mine a little bit rounded on the end. See how I'm holding the puppet mouth there? So I know that it will cover the whole thing when I glue it. Which way do I attach it? Pay attention because some kids get this wrong every year. Look at the back of your puppet where the opening is, the opening where your hand will go. That faces the tail. Fit the head that you made over it to make sure that it covers over the puppet form. You need to be careful not to get any glue where the puppet mouth opens, or it will glue shut and you won't be able to put your hand in. Glue around the edges. Be sure to use enough glue, and you can give a little glue in the middle. I usually do an X just to make it extra strong. Then you can fit it on and press it down to make sure it sticks. See how I made the open part toward the back so my hand can go in? You can make any shape you want for a head. I just made a round one. You can make pointy ones or square ones. Anything you like. Just remember you're shaping it and you're making sure you cover the puppet form. Use as much paper as you need and cut interesting shapes to make the body. I'm showing you how I made mine. But yours doesn't have to look anything like mine. It doesn't have to be a long shape. It can be a rounder shape or a wider shape. You choose how you're going to make it. I'm just showing you how I made mine. And remember, these are imaginary creatures, so it doesn't have to look any particular way. I'm going to add wings to mine. I have an interesting shape for my puppet, but it's still fairly flat. Now we'll review or learn a few different techniques for making things 3-dimensional. The first technique is really simple. It's folding a tab. You just take any shape you want and fold it. Notice I'm using my thumb to make a sharp The tab creates a big enough surface to put the glue on so the piece will hold. You can see the where I'm going to put the glue. Now I'm putting the glue on, and I'm going to attach it to make the beginning of pop-up eyes. See how those shapes pop up? Now I'm shaping them. You can do it any way you want. I'm just showing you the way I'm doing it today. See, it has eyes, or the beginning of eyes. I'm going to add a lot more to them later. I'm going to use the tab technique to make teeth. First, I'm going to cut a shape that would fit into the mouth. You could just use a little scrap piece of paper, fold a tab in it, and glue it into the mouth like that. Or you could fold a tab on that larger piece I cut and start to shape that piece to make the teeth, all the teeth on the top or the bottom of the mouth. See how I'm cutting different shapes to make the teeth? But I'm not cutting on the tab part. I'm leaving that piece of surface for the glue. Look how it will fit in. All I need to do is glue it now. But I have to be careful I don't get glue anywhere where the mouth will stick together. I'm gluing on the tab. Then I'm going to decide exactly where I want it to be, how far forward or back, and then I'm going to Now I'm making a bottom set of teeth too. I just felt like doing that. Curling is another great technique for making your flat paper 3D. Start with a long shape or strip of paper and roll it up as best you can. Some people roll it around a pencil, but I just roll it around itself. Either way works. Give it a little squeeze at the end. You don't want to create folds. You just want to set the shape. And look, I have a spiral shape now. A 3D spiral shape. Where will I put it? In the mouth? On the tail? On the body? I'm trying out different placements until I decide where it goes. It's going on the tail. And while I'm working on the tail, I want to tell you something about the shape of most tails. Most tails taper. Taper means it goes from thicker to thinner. Many tails also follow a spiral pattern. Look, here they're combined, a tapering spiral shape. Does this remind you of anything? Accordion folds are fun to make, and they're easy once you do your first one. You can do it with a strip or with a whole big piece of paper, even the body of your puppet. You hold it down, you fold it one way, and remember, you have to really push the edge. I love using the thumb. Then you take it the other way, and remember to push it. Fold it down, don't just leave it, but really get a crisp edge where you fold. And there's a back and forth pattern. Can you see that? Watch what happens when I open it up. I've got a boingy springy piece. Where will it go? It made such a cool shape when I put the ends together. I think I'm going to use it as the shape on my puppet body. It's so easy to take a flat strip of paper and turn it into a loop. Try it. Now we're going to learn a technique making fringes. So take a piece of paper, any shape or size you want, and start to cut several lines in it. You can see what I'm doing. Now I'm bending them to make them more 3D. You could do accordion folds, or you can bend one way and one the other. Lots of fun things you can do. Try these pieces in a lot of different places. I'm using them as kind of eyelashes, but you can use them anywhere. Do you remember that cool scaly technique we did in class? Fold a piece of paper in half lengthwise and be sure to get a smooth crease. Then cut into it on an angle. The bigger the angle, the bigger the scale will be. And make it each angle parallel to the next as you go down the whole piece. Then open it up and lay it flat. Now work your finger under the triangle and bend it back. Remember to make a crisp fold when you bend it back. Do it down the whole piece. You can cut other shapes as well. Here's one that I created using a rounded line when I cut, not a pointy line. I hope you get a chance to try all of these techniques today. We'll work on these more next week. We'll be adding complementary colors. So if you're an in-person learner, you need to leave it at school for next week and save all your paper. And if you're a remote learner, you need to just be sure you have it with you next week wherever you're working. You don't have to upload it this week to your Google Classroom file, but if you do, I'll get to see it. And you can also post it on your Padlet for fun.